Good Monday Matters. I hope you had a blessed Sabbath and are looking forward to a wonderful week. This is spring break in our part of the country. It is springtime. It seems like the weather has changed and we're moving into that season. And I hope that you're enjoying that wherever you are, that you're looking forward to just a great, great week. It's also a week leading up to Palm Sunday. It's a wonderful time of the year. I enjoy the Easter celebration. I enjoy thinking through and meditating on some of the Passion Week events. And it kind of sparked a thought that I want to talk about today. This Palm Sunday celebration. Anyone familiar with Christendom is familiar with the Palm Sunday story. Jesus gives instructions to his disciples. They go and find a colt. He rides into the city, Jerusalem, to the triumphal entry of a king coming to a conquered city. The people are laying their coats in front of the donkey as it comes into town. They're waving palm branches. They're saying, "Hosanna is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord." It is a historical and traditional welcome of a triumphant king. The thing that's so interesting about this story to me is that it is the very same crowd that in a few days will also be yelling for him, but this time they'll be yelling, "Crucify him, crucify him." That fickle crowd that in one moment welcomes him and just a few days later cries to have him put to death. If you've been around people much, you recognize the fickleness of the crowd. You recognize what it's like to go from hero to goat, not the good kind of goat, in just a moment. That's not so much what I want to talk about as just how that happens in our own heart, in our own lives. It's so interesting to me how we can be up on cloud nine, as we say, top of the world one day, and just in almost a moment go through a mood swing, severe change. We go from a Palm Sunday kind of celebration to a Good Friday kind of celebration in our own hearts, in our own emotions. And it's so interesting how that happens and the impact of that. There are probably several reasons for it. Speaking of this time of the year, the seasons, the days, we have 2 or 3 bright sunshiny days and then cold weather comes back and that can send us into a tailspin as far as our mood. On a grander scale, seasonal affective disorder where the winter begins to take its toll on us, dark weather begins to take its toll on us. That contributes to mood swings. There is a post-traumatic mood swing, not post-traumatic stress disorder, but just a mood swing. I go through a difficult time. Maybe I go through it triumphantly. The adrenaline rush and the endorphins that it took to get through that are depleted, and now all of a sudden I'm sinking into the slough of despond. I wonder, just a few days ago I was on the top of the mountain, and now I'm in such despair. They're just kind of circadian cycles that we go through, that we just, as women have gone through from the beginning of time, this menstrual cycle where they'll go through an emotional, sometimes difficult emotional time once a month. Men go through that as well. Sometimes it's quarterly, not monthly, but we go through this kind of natural biological cycle where we're feeling good, now we're not feeling good, where we're emotionally high, now we're not emotionally high. And then there is, of course, the chemical imbalance that we call bipolar disorder, where we genuinely, because of a chemical imbalance in our brain, will go through these manic highs and then this cycle into dark despair, depression. All of those are reasons why we go through these dramatic mood swings. I'm not talking so much about that last bipolar, but the others that are more commonplace. I just want to take a minute, and again, the Palm Sunday story made me think about that. I want to take a minute and talk about what we do when we find ourselves cycling through these mood swings, when we're going through from the high to the low, to the difficult time. I came up with the acronym RAISE. We want to raise our spirits. We want to raise our thinking. And so I'm going to use the acronym RAISE to talk about 5 things that we do when we find ourselves either cycling into this lower mood swing or actually in it and trying to figure out how to get out of it. RAISE. First of all, we recognize it for what it is. We recognize it for what it is. This is a mood swing. This is not the way I'm going to be for the rest of my life. This is a pattern that perhaps I have gone through before. I do see that the weather is cloudy and gray and dark, and it's starting to take a toll on me. I do see that I finally got my taxes done, and the push of that, now I'm in this despair because of the taxes I had to pay. I do recognize for what it is that this is a mood. It's not a state of being, and therefore it's temporary. Number 2, the A, we acknowledge it or admit it. We acknowledge, I'm kind of in a funk right now. I'm kind of in a dark time. I just have to acknowledge that. There's something powerful about saying out loud before everybody else starts saying it to us. Yeah, I do acknowledge that this is kind of I'm not where I was a few days ago. I'm not where I was a week ago. We recognize, we acknowledge, we invite help, not in a drastic panic, throw up my hands, oh, what am I going to do? But we just invite a friend or a spouse or a church or men's group. Something we invite some help. I just need you to pray for me. It's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world, but I do feel myself in this kind of darker time, and could you pray for me? Recognize it for what it is. Acknowledge that we're in a mood swing. Invite help. Number 4, stop, the S, R-A-I-S, stop ruminating. Stop the just focusing on everything negative and letting our mind just be obsessed or either compulsive or impulsive thinking where it's out of control. We stop that. And as I quote often, as Joyce Meyer says, we think about what we're thinking about. And I'm just going to stop this. I'm not going to keep thinking about the fact that nobody loves me or that my job is awful or that the church is not doing what I wanted to do. Stop the thinking. And then number 5, R-A-I-S-E, number 5, engage your whole being in breaking out of this mood. There's nothing horrible or tragic about sinking into a dark mood for a little while. It's probably healthy to have some natural ebb and flow in our emotions, but we can't stay there, and we can't allow it to get darker. So engage your whole being. Recognize it for what it is. Acknowledge that you're in this mood. Invite help. Stop the ruminating and engage your whole being. And by that, I mean body, soul, and spirit, whole self. Paul says in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, I pray that your whole body, soul, and spirit be preserved blameless. We engage body, soul, and spirit. So I want to close with these 3 things, body, soul, and spirit, how we use those things to break out of this negative mood. Body, there are some physical things. Get up and move. Exercise. Check your diet. Make sure you're sleeping well. Physically, do the things. Just sheer movement helps me to break out of that. So physically, engage my body in changing my activity, exercising more, and breaking out of the mood swing. Soul. Soul is the Greek word of psyche, the psychology of us. That's mind, emotions, and will. So engage your thinking, engage your feeling, engage your choosing to break out of this. Doris says all the time, take in the good. Choose to begin to take in the good and think about those things. Paul says, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are good report, think about these things. So use mind, emotions, and will. Engage all of those to break out of this mood. Use your body, use your soul, and then use your spirit. Prayer and praise. I can't think of 2 things any more powerful to help change this negative mood swing than prayer and praise. when I choose to put on praise music, to raise my hands, to pray, to thank God for who he is, it breaks that cycle. So whether it's Palm Sunday or any other time, there will be, I'm sure, a time where you find yourself sinking into that dark mood. Again, you don't panic. We don't throw up our hands and quit. We don't say this is awful. But we do recognize I'm in something and I want to get out of something. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, I have been on a revival high for about 2 months. And on Friday, I had a really, really bad day. Some very difficult things happened. Really began Thursday night and then Friday and kind of work-related things. And then Saturday. And so I just found myself in a dark mood. I was snapping at Doris. I was not having fun with the grandkids. I was isolating. I recognized. And so to be candid, I'm saying this for me as much as I am for you. These are things that I'm choosing to do, to use body, soul, and spirit, to recognize, to acknowledge, to invite help, to stop the ruminating, and to engage my whole being in getting out, because we're not made for that. God said, I've come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. And that's what he desires for you. So hopefully this helps you. God bless you in the days ahead. I hope you have a great Monday. Hope you know that God loves you and I love you. And just go out and enjoy yourself today. God bless you. Have a good day.